Hi, you're watching this special program. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and of course, this program has been happening at this particular hour in association with Business World, where we discuss the economy, the future of where we are going, and what we have left behind. Obviously, COVID-19 features into everything the economy has to do with today, and we try and get voices and opinions and ideas from some of the leading business minds of the country. And let me introduce our panel for today. Joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Piyush Sharma, Global CEO, Board Member, C-Suite Advisor, Thought Leader. Mr. Ravi Mittal, Founder of Quack Quack. Mr. Varun Kapoor, Business Head of D Complex Marketing. We are also joined at this point in time by Ms. Tripathi, I beg your pardon, Ms. Tripti Shingle Somani, CEO of KGS Advisors and Founder, Womanovator. And Ms. Karuna Bajaj, founder of Karuna Bajaj Image Consultancy and an entrepreneur. And very shortly, we will also have Ms. Chitali Das, who is the president of India Western Canada Bilateral Business Council, WICCI. And last but not the least, I have with me my partner in crime, Dr. Anurag Batra, chairman and editor-in-chief, Business World and Exchange for Media Group. All right, welcome everyone to this insightful chat that we're going to have about a number of things, perhaps even brushing on a bit of the Indian economy. Mr. Piyush Sharma, let me in fact start by asking you a very simple question. What do you assess of the current state of our economy? Where are we going? And is the direction, according to you, is the right direction right now? Because obviously things are not the same as they used to be before COVID-19. A lot of businesses are running from pillar to post just to survive. Forget about growing. A lot of businesses are just, in fact, trudging on to survive. What do you make of the situation, and what ideas do you think that the government has implemented, if any?
So interesting times that we're living in, Vineet. I think just to provide a little context, if we look at it, even before the pandemic struck, the Indian economy was reeling under its lowest recorded GDP in 6 years. I remember that towards the end of last year, IMF had to cut its global outlook, referring to India's slowing growth, accounting for nearly 80% of the downward revision. So the slowdown really needs to be understood for the structural characteristic that it has, which started much, much earlier than the pandemic. Now, the pandemic, I think, has only added to Indian economy's woes. And despite the government measures, which have been aplenty, I must say, the problems remain. So slowing demand, we understand, is for one. And there is very clearly reported risk-aversive, I would call it conservative approach towards lending in public sector banks, which is also leading to liquidity challenges for another. So the attempts, I think, of what the government has tried to do through the relief program has been bogged down further with the, I would say, a short-term survival focus, which is what everyone is trying to do today, rather than building sustainability and competitiveness. And I think the cumbersome administrative workflows is another issue. So implementation, I would say, is the key really. And no wonder the government has stopped releasing industrial output data after April, and there is no official data right now available on either the jobs or the income losses. That said, I think it needs to be appreciated that we are passing through unprecedented times when the COVID-19 pandemic has been called the greatest global humanitarian challenge and that the world has faced since World War II, and the economic downturn has also been called the worst since the Great Depression of the 1930s. So I think this is where we are, and what we make of it is right upon us.
Okay, Varun, let me bring you into the conversation. You heard Piyush's opening comments. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, has it impacted your business? If yes, how? And there is a real fear that a lot of businesses, startups and otherwise have hit rock bottom in revenues. They've not been able to raise capital and they risk down shutting their businesses. Is that a real fear, or are we just exaggerating?
So, Anurag, I am actually seeing a polar comparison. So we have clients, domestic and international. So while there are certain sectors in India also, for example, logistics, which one of my clients, he's the second largest logistics company in India, and they are already at 80% of their pre-COVID levels. So they have bounced back. Now, another client that we have is a software solutions provider, and they have their markets in US and UK. They are actually having the best ever month. I mean, July, they did the best ever in the company's history. So things are bouncing back. At the same time, another client, which is an SME of the Indian market in the apparel segment, they are finding it very, very tough. Their factories have been shut down in the last 3 months. Labor is not there. So I believe wherever there is a lot of labor involved, wherever the sectors where there is a lot of unorganized labor involved, that are suffering. Organized sectors are bouncing back quicker. This is my reading of the market.
Okay, let me go to Karuna Bajaj. Karuna Bajaj, has your business thrived or has it taken a hit? As the new abnormal, I don't call it the new normal, I call it the new abnormal. Sinks in, people are doing more webinars. They're more worried about survival than building their image. So give us a sense of what's happened to your consulting and how do you see the business and economy doing in the next few months?
First of all, thank you, Dr. Anurag Batra, Vineet Malhotra, for having me over the show, and greetings to all my fellow panelists. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you for this show that you are hosting. It is, interaction between the entrepreneurs, the professionals and the policymakers, to interact and share ideas as to how we bring the economy back. So taking forward from there, while talking about image consultancy, we focus on grooming, personality development and appearance management. So yes, as you are rightly saying, it all deals with, how you are looking good, and that, that caters to going to office daily, attending events, weddings, going out, meeting friends. So all of this is just not happening. For that reason, it's really hitting rock bottom. And if we ask people also to take our services, on what ground shall we say? Nobody's just not interested. They are saying fashion and things, just don't talk about it. So yes, I would want some kind of soaps from the government in terms of, there are certain measures, if you allow me, can I mention here?
Sure.
As in, a certain percentage of our previous year's income, if it can come as a furlough from government. My daughters are in UK. So they were telling me they are just doing, part-time jobs because they are studying there. So even they have lost their jobs because of COVID, and 80% of their salaries of, minor, certain pounds is coming from government. So this kind of a thing, so I know ours is a bigger country, but some kind of a percentage, either it can be a tax rebate, or it can be some kind of a percentage of loan that can be obtained from government, or furlough if at all, will help a lot. And then there are many points related to fashion industry and shopping, which we can later discuss in this session.
And so far is not enough. That's not suffice. Do you think that's barely even touched the type of business or the type of enterprise that you're in? Is that what you're saying, Karuna?
Yeah, it has touched, and we are remodeling. In fact, I'm remodeling my whole business, towards maybe self-care or inner image, psychology, or for that matter, focusing on YouTube. Again, getting online does not happen overnight. You need to put in certain, in fact, months of content on it. That's when people will recognize you, and some money will start, revenue will start coming in. So it is a difficult time.
So what you're saying, evolve. You've had to evolve, and that is perhaps a challenge which a lot of businesses face, right? We are also, in fact, at this point in time, Ms. Chaitali Das. Chaitali, if you can hear us, she's the president of India Western Canada Bilateral Business Council, which is also known as the WICCI. Chaitali, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Okay, let's take the next question, Anurag, perhaps from Tripti.
Tripti ji, you work, you have an accounting business and, a financial services consulting business. On the other hand, you deal with these women entrepreneurs across the length and breadth of the country. What is the sentiment you get when you talk to some of them? Give us various slices of what's happening to these entrepreneurs. And where do you see the Indian business and economy going? Ms. Tripti Singhal Somani?
Yeah, Mr. Anurag, thank you so much for inviting, and it's a pleasure to be here. I would like to take you about the package which was announced by the government very quickly, and also definitely on the aspect of what women and what's the status here. I think first of all, on the ground level, being advising and being into consistency business, I would say that yet we haven't seen or come across at a ground level people are benefiting. Specifically, the company which had a good rating, credit rating, they definitely managed to grab some loans, or the ones we had existing loans, they could add on more to their loan buckets. But what about the new, the new companies, or the companies which were just surviving, but had a poor credit rating, but couldn't survive because of this? So I think there are few limitations, and also the funding which has come across with lots of conditions applied. So it is becoming very difficult for someone who is coming new, who was trying to survive in this difficult circumstances. I think it has a little difficult time for those companies for sure. In addition to the companies, corporates which are facing. Then about this MSME equity infusion program which was announced by the government. Till date, it has not been, it was announced, but how to claim it, whom it has to be claimed from, the complete, guidelines have yet to be announced. And people are actually, they were waiting when it was announced in so much excitement, but yeah, we are yet to hear about it. TDS brought a smile to us because of the reduction, but I think it was always a complete right to get the refunds which were given to us. It was something which was due to us and was extended to us on timely basis. We are really thankful for government for this. But I think if you talk about GST aspect, there is definitely a relaxation being brought on less than 5 crore. There was extension in the payment. But imagine I am billing and I'm not receiving, and I'm paying my GST even then in these difficult circumstances. Can you even believe the pain people are going through because of this? I think government could have easily relaxed on accrual versus receipt. A receipt could be the key for the GST aspect. And in PF also, I think that is a relaxation for 100 employees thing, but this is something we all are today are responsible to take care of our employees, which are more than 100 in our organization. I think it wouldn't have recently Karuna just asked for relaxation and some payments to which other countries are making for survival. I'm saying you don't do that, but at least such relaxation on compliances could have been easily been passed on. So with this, I would also say that on the aspect which you said on the women entrepreneurship, believe me, it has been a tragic side that the logistic, specifically logistics, has caused a lot of companies to almost have zero, profitability. The logistic has cost a lot. So, Anurag, I can keep adding on.
Yes. We'll come back to you, Ravi. When people have more time, they consume more content. We've seen that in the OTT space. We've seen that in almost, you look at news channel viewership, it's been at an all-time high because of the interest in knowing the right information. Now, you run an app that encourages people to read. Quack Quack. Tell us a bit about what has COVID done to you and where do you see the economy going? Ravi Mittal?
So, Quack Quack is a dating app, and we help connect singles online. What we had seen is during the lockdown, we had seen an unprecedented, increase in traffic in terms of users. Pre-COVID, we would add about 8 to 10,000 users on a daily basis, and during the lockdown, we started adding almost 18 to 20,000 users. Almost which was its peak as the lockdown started, ending, the unlock started happening. We saw, the traffic started going down, and today it is as good as pre-COVID levels. So while at one stage we have seen some unprecedented growth in terms of engagement, but in terms of business, I think post-May onwards, even we have seen a decline in revenue. I think our country is more of a medium to low income, economy. And I think since most of the people work in retail and offline businesses, and they have jobs and stuff, we have seen a gradual decline even in our revenue, even in an online platform like us, who has seen some unprecedented growth during the lockdown. So yeah, these are testing times even for platforms like us as well.
Okay, but if people are meeting online, where is the dating happening? So I would like
dating
to know.
Dating is all happening online. People are chatting, people are video chatting. In fact, we saw almost 60% growth in terms of daily chats among users. So certainly people are communicating with each other. Of course, they're not meeting offline, but yes, dating is happening on the apps.
Okay, and you rightly said you're advertising dependent. The revenues, while the numbers may have gone up, the revenues haven't kept pace with that, right? Is that a...
Yeah, we are dependent on the subscription revenue. But the point is, again, if people, youngsters, they don't have money in their pocket, they're not going to spend on a subscription. So that is where I'm trying
to... subscription free.
Yes.
That's especially for you and Piyush. I called him and I told him you should make the subscription free. But moving on to serious stuff. Piyush, you've been part of you built large businesses. You've seen various sectors. Now, when you look at the economy, you got to be granular. You got to look at sector by sector by sector. We know which are the ones who are most impacted, and we know which are the ones which have benefited most, right? Tell us the sectors that we've not talked about, that no one is talking about, but they're seeing unusual traction. So give us a sense of these sectors, Piyush.
Yeah, sure. So I think 4 or 5 sectors that come to my mind are manufacturing, of course, is one of the worst affected sector, I would say. Real estate is another. There is agriculture, there is healthcare, there is retail. Practically, if you take out a health tech and an ed tech situation, I think everyone is kind of reeling under pressure, except for the digital and the big tech companies. So the sectoral spread has spared really no one, Anurag, is how I would look at it. I think for really getting the productivity, the competitiveness, to ensure growth and to create kind of job opportunity, it is very important to undertake the reforms in these sectors and, frame, I would say, sector-specific pro-growth policies to attract investments in all of these sectors. And I think it is also important to kind of look at creating flexible labor markets for the industry with better benefits and safety nets for workers. And along with this, if we also improve the ease and reduce the cost of doing business, I think that would help.
Thank you so much. At this point, Chaitali has joined us. Chaitali, you interact with the cross-section of entrepreneurs.
Right.
You see the Indian business and economy recovering? Because we are unlike Canada, where the government has a certain capacity to pump in money, and it has given small business owners loans, and even said that if you do your numbers, we may write those loans off. India is not in that position. So tell us, what is your outlook when you look at the Indian economy, and what is your message for Indian entrepreneurs?
Thank you very much, Mr. Batra, for having me here in your show. And I was hearing the interesting insights shared by the fellow panelists. And I would like to put across that, of course, our government is giving us the loan, but then getting and processing and getting all the formalities done, particularly with the MSME sectors, it's very, very difficult. And still people are not getting the help and the support that the government has promised, and the government is encouraging and supporting that way. Of course, that we have a manpower issue. We have the migrated labor, because all the industry and all sectors are working with the partial manpower and also alternative days work, so which is really not sufficient. The other issue is coming across that we find that we are going to take this opportunity when our particular, I'm not naming our neighboring country, if we can avoid certain stuff and we equip ourselves as a self-reliant. So for that reason, we need a lot of expertise. We need reskilling ourselves to get to that refined and that state, so that we are really self-reliant and we can we can just go across the globe and maintain the international and the global standard. So that's going to actually take more time, and it's going to be like all sectors and including the government sectors, that we have to work combined way so that we skill ourselves to that level. And going across that, again, we have a lot of virtual webinars which have also opened a lot of doors, and we are actually interacting. We are doing our base work so that when the lockdown is lifted, when the things are normalizing, and when actually it will normalize completely, so that we can take the opportunity, take the advantage. So that's how it's we are working. And there are a lot of hand-holding mechanisms which are coming up. So we are going to explore the opportunities. It's not all that gloom doom situation that we are seeing. So we actually need to look out for the opportunities. There is another opportunity that Indian population, that we know that the educational youth and the educated youth are the age group. So for them and going ahead for the nation, it's going to be the opportunity that we need to explore ahead.
Okay, Chitali. Okay. We'll take a break possibly and then come back.
We still have time for break, Ravi. We still have about 5-7 minutes for a break.
I want to ask you, Ravi, you're a self-funded startup, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I did ask this question to Tripti. A lot of entrepreneurs have seen their enterprise revenues going down, plus they haven't been able to increase funding that was available. They haven't been able to raise funding. So do you see some enterprises, some startups holding up over the next few months? They were holding up till now. And second, I would like to ask you, have you seen entrepreneurs around you getting the benefit of the stimulus that the government announced? Ravi?
No, to be honest, I haven't seen any entrepreneur benefiting from any stimulus around me. That is a very honest answer I can give you. In terms of startups, yes, of course, there are a lot of startups who are already struggling, and the coming few months are going to be very difficult for them. The only reason we have survived is because we are a self-funded startup and we have a cash reserve, and we were able to, we are a 10-year-old company. So not being funded has not been a problem for us. We have cash reserves, and that has worked for us pretty well. But going forward, things are also looking difficult for us. Because we have been trying to cut down costs, we have been trying to bring down our sales prices, subscription prices, so that more people can subscribe. We're also trying a lot of innovation to attract customers. So overall, everything looks gloomy. We did a recent survey, and we saw that 50% of our female users are not ready to date. That's a depressing fact for us, because if people are not ready to date at this point of time, it's a sad story even for us.
Right. Can you also tell us what when you say challenges that small businesses might face, what in particular are you apprehensive about? Say in the next 6 months, is this something that you're getting ready for that's perhaps imminent? We really don't know where COVID-19 is going. There's going to be a vaccine. There's going to be a vaccine which works or not. Just today, newspapers were replete that most of the vaccines that have come out do not last for more than a couple of months. Now that is bound to shake up, plans and future projects for a lot of people who might be in your position. Ravi?
I think he lost the audio for a moment.
Piyush, there is also an indication that the government is working out another stimulus plan. There's a part 2 to it. A stimulus 2.0 is also being worked out. But do you think so far the government has not been really extremely proactive when it comes to encompassing almost all the businesses which in fact exist in our country? Because as a matter of fact, a lot of these businesses, 15 to 18% of them will fold up. You'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah, Piyush, go ahead.
Yes. So good point there, Vineet. I think what we need to understand and appreciate is that it is a dynamically evolving situation that we are witnessing here. So naturally, the fact that this is leading to a situation where the government perhaps needs to be now bringing in financial system reforms if we have to look at getting demand and liquidity back. And I think the financial system reforms will have to look at some of the things that we've been talking about, the measures to kind of channel more household savings to capital markets on a medium to long-term basis, and to reduce the cost of credit intermediation, and perhaps to be able to streamline the government finance. So while on the one hand the central government has been working well, it's important to their pro-growth agenda is I would say is critical, but action at the state's end is also required, and an active participation of the business sector is required. So businesses, I think all of them, whether it is MSMEs or it is the large businesses, they will all need to develop a long-term value mindset, which helps in developing capabilities in automation, in digitization, in product innovation, in mergers and acquisitions, and in corporate governance. So that I think is going to be the key to be able to tide over the crisis, which naturally and currently doesn't seem to be coming under control.
Okay, Piyush, one thing I want to know, do you see demand? Demand is a function of jobs, the function of the income that the middle of the pyramid has. And everywhere we've seen whether there is jobs that have done well, the economy has done well because those people have spent. Now, we have lost a lot of jobs in the last 5.5 months, both in the organized sector and in the unorganized sector. Now, we have IPL and Diwali. We will see a demand coming back temporarily. Do you see that demand staying on for the next 6 months, 12 months, or do you see the temporary demand dipping post-Diwali? And then I'm assuming that the demand will be back. That's an assumption I'm taking.
Yes, when you are looking at asking me to prognosticate on a 6 to 12 month kind of situation, Arunag, I have been an eternal optimist, and I think this too shall pass. So if the implementation of reforms is done right, I think the next few 12 to 24 months for India could actually be one of high growth, could be of gainful jobs, and could be of broad-based prosperity. And I know that I'm sounding like mostly what we've been hearing through the evening is something different. So I think the government relief support on a macro level, the shifting global geopolitical priorities, the Indo-China face-off, the redrawn global supply chain gaps, they all combined offer ample opportunities to look at the present situation as a goldmine opportunity to rethink, to reassess, and to kind of reinvent a new model. So evolving to a new reimagined model, which is to do with product innovation, process innovation, and technology innovation, combined with digital transformation, I think will be the key. So demand may or may not come back, right? But every business will need to re-evolve, because we're realizing that cost control is one thing, and reinventing a new business model is another.
Okay, and Piyush, I want to ask this to you and every other panelist, including my co-host Vineet. What is the mindset change that has occurred in you in the last 5.5 months? Is there anything that has changed? What is the new set of rules that you live by, that you work by?
Do you want me to answer it?
First you and then everybody else.
Yeah, so I am looking at it as a very beautiful phase of life, Anurag. I think there is an opportunity to invent a new normal every single day in every single aspect of life, in every single walk of life. It is not only business, it is every single quadrant of your life. You realize how minimal are we needing today. You realize how much are people in need of things. You realize how much is the scope of helping out people. So we've been discussing about entrepreneurship. In the US, as many as 75% of the businesses fail. In India, as much as 90% of the businesses go on to fail. So entrepreneurship for me is a problem worth solving. It's something which can, 75 to 90% is a hell of a lot of gap. So it's something where we are in a position it should be looked at as a public good. It should be looked at as a situation where it can lead to social inclusion. It can lead to, inclusiveness at the bottom of the pyramid. So in every aspect of life, if we look at, there is a new normal which you have to reinvent. Example, what we are doing right now, right? All of us sitting at our homes and yet be able to get onto national television. So I am looking at it as a happy, positive situation and living by the day and looking at all the new things which are coming.
Don't you miss the human connection? Piyush, I'm asking you an obvious question. Don't you meeting me over coffee, meeting another friend, or I believe work from home is overrated. People who are self-motivated, it's very good for them. But for a lot of people in the company who are not self-motivated, I mean, the quality of the work is not the same. So first, let me take it to Tripti. Tripti, what do you think has changed in your mental value when you approach work, when you approach life?
Anuragji, first of all, I would say that COVID in service industry and women, I'll tell you why. Because one, I'm able to do more than I could because the traveling time, unnecessary waiting time during meetings, and definitely our events, the kind of time it used to take and the kind of time it used to take in, executing in physical and the resources deployed, definitely, I think for a woman, one security point of view also, I should not miss that. Today, we are very secure in doing all the business, and specifically in service industry, it is more secured. You are saving time, and I would say, in addition, peace of mind because you are able to see your family more as a woman. You are able to, spend more time. Though things are under your control, like things from distance and things in front of you definitely motivate you. You can plan your things accordingly. Definitely, you need a lot of support system at the back, being at home and working. But definitely, this is, and I would also say that women has to be pushed to contribute in real GDP. Somehow, in North Indian women, I would like to highlight this, Anuragji, that they come out of their comfort zone only when there are circumstances for that. And I really feel if our women can be forced to contribute, they are contributing, which is not being counted in our GDP, but in a real sense, they have to be pushed for this. And I would also like to add that a good time for government to implement all the infrastructure projects. This will definitely create job creation, and all our roads which have gone here and there. There is people, more people to be employed, and less people on the road. We can do better in terms of execution and a faster execution at the moment.
Thank you so much, Karuna. Same question to you. Less is more. Less for me. Less is more. I'm a person who insists on meeting anybody for anything. I'm a very face-to-face person. I like to have a conversation. I have not met people and, life goes on. So what are your new rules of working and living and making sure whatever you do, you bring out the best in that?
I do go out to our family business, so I'm actually not sitting at home life. And secondly, I do meeting friends, but I do a lot of Netflix watching. I do a lot of reading and tried out new recipes. Also working on health and all these aspects. So I'm keeping myself quite occupied. So it doesn't affect much. But when
Karuna, I'm not referring to you, but I keep saying this to myself. That Anurag, we need to distinguish between activity and progress. I mean, we do a lot of activity in the day. I do. What is the progress I'm making? Yes, sometimes being busy can keep you mindfully occupied, and that's also good. But I'm just saying, what are your new rules for your life? Like, let me tell you, what are my new rules? My first rule is never say never. Anything is possible. Have an open mind. Mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. My second rule is it's about technology. If whatever you do, there is no technology in it, you're under leveraged. Of course, you got to have this right balance. And my last rule, third, is dream big, because it's a short life. So, I've started to dream bigger than I did before COVID. So these are my three rules. What are your rules? Vineet, what are your rules? What has changed you've been anchoring for a while. You play on the stock markets. You're a musician. But what has changed in your wiring?
Well, I guess I have a lot of time, Anurag, like all of us. And a lot more things to do and think about. You perhaps have time to introspect. and what you were not able to do before, and what you can do because of this time that you have at hand. And obviously, when you have time at hand, you try different things, and then you regret that why didn't I do it sooner? So just perhaps it's just another side of the same coin that you flipped. That activity and progress. There was activity in the past, but progress only comes when you introspect and start doing something about it intelligently.
Right.
Ravi Mittal, apart from people are dating, what else is keeping you busy?
So first of all, I would like to say, work from home is possible. As a startup, I never thought that is going to be possible. I never encouraged work from home, but we are all working from home and everything is going so smoothly. So that is number one. Number two is startups always have to be agile and nimble. And I think this is the time they have to be more agile and nimble. They have to be more resilient. That is what I have learned. I've also learned that, offline economy can affect the online economy. So that is one important learning. These are my 3 learnings.
Varun Kapoor? You'll have to unmute yourself. Most used word of 2020 apart from COVID would be unmute.
As a general trend among our network and when we go out and when we see, there are 2 things which I'm observing, both in terms of a personal sort of a thing and in terms of a professional sort of thing. In the personal front, just like Vineet said, there's time now available to everyone, and people have started sitting and introspecting. So that's one change where it was a common thread a few months ago that everyone is rushing, everyone is going here and there. The life is slowed down a bit. Now, not saying it is bad or good, it's just an observation. It's slowed down a bit. Number one. Number two, a lot of my on the professional front, a lot of my business friends, a lot of my entrepreneurs, circle friends, I see a very, very stark trend in thinking short term. While plans were being made for 10, 15 years down the line, now we are talking, next 6 months, what's the plan? Next 1 year, what's the plan? So that tactical, which again is required because, just like you said, it's a dynamically changing environment. Every day there is something new just coming up. So a lot of short-term planning. So one, introspection and 2, short-term planning. These 2 things are something that I'm seeing.
Absolutely. That's
And Chaitali, what's changed about your outlook to work?
It has not drastically has changed personally for my work, because I have been working and from my office and from my home, and I have been always preferring to work, and in terms of women, actually, it's better to have flexible timing, and that's the reason why women can contribute more, and potentially even in the rural sector, I have seen, in the mid-level management, I have seen that if the flexible timing is designed for women, they can contribute even more. So for me, I have seen, even I have an organization called Raksha Foundation, where I have seen a lot of women who have long forgotten their singing, dancing, and painting, those kind of
overall
things.
Overall,
so they have
it has given birth to a do-it-yourself economy.
Right. So they're
back to the. COVID could have well been called India's Got Talent.
Yes, even the corporates I have
really
seen.
Come alive. People, you've seen different avatars, but I want to focus on the business side. Tripti, I want to ask you, this time should have given rise to many homepreneurs who have done, possibly made things at home and sold it on the internet. Within the network that you are active, do you see homepreneurs growing? Do you see women homepreneurs growing?
I can just give you an example. I just spoke to one homepreneur today. She has made a sustainable detergent. For the last 6 months, she was experimenting and has innovative a sustainable organic washing powder.
Wow.
And she's not someone who's done some...
So it's not made from chemicals. That's what you mean. It's
Yes.
from organic, maybe from, it's made from herbs, or it is made from organic plants, but it's not made from chemicals. That's what you mean.
And that I think this is the best thing about COVID, that is, like other panelists were saying, that it has given us time to think and execute too. I think we have been more mindful, and I think this COVID has brought to our notice one very important thing is collaborative community or ecosystem. Today, maybe money may fail to play a role in your life. A healthy, full of, the importance of wellness, importance of holistic wellness, sustainability has actually, we are using all those products which are healthy and were existing in our ecosystem, but we were just ignoring them. And now we all are using those aloe vera, we are using, all those small things which we were completely ignoring.
We are dipping in the goodness of India. We had forgotten, and we had forgotten to look after ourselves. So the time that we spent in our homes has forced us to reevaluate who we are, what we should spend time on, and look after ourselves.
What Tripti is perhaps saying is that we are healthier because there is a pandemic hovering above our heads. So that's what it takes for us to be healthy, for things to get really worse before we start to act for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let me ask all the panelists before we end the show. Let me start with Ravi Mittal. If you look at the Indian business and economy, when do you see it getting better? In 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? We know temporarily it may get marginally better because there's Diwali, there's IPL. But when do you see the economy getting better? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months?
6 months, I feel, is possible, provided that the government does, put in some extraordinary efforts in terms of to entrepreneurs. 6 months, otherwise, it'll take one year easily, post-vaccine.
I think government needs to spend more money, which will have a multiplier impact. And once that happens, it could come back in 6 months. Otherwise, it'll take more than that.
Otherwise, we'll have to, rely on the vaccines to come out, and that's when people are going to step out and, be more confident of spending.
Because there is a fear factor. The cases in Delhi in the last 2 days have gone up. We bridged every number. We broke every number. Varun Kapoor, your view on the economy? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months?
So just one short addition to this thing, that there will be sectoral improvements. For example, I personally see weddings, which is one of the biggest industry, not recovering before at least 18 to 24 months. At the same time, real estate is showing signs of jumping back to life. So within 6 to 12 months, most of the sectors will evolve. A lot of new sectors like direct to customer, sort of businesses will jump up very fast. Small businesses will again come up very fast. But some sectors, traditional sectors, fashion, for example, will take a long time to recover. Weddings will take a long time. So sectorally, between
the wedding economy by itself is a very big economy. Chaitali, your final view on when will the economy recover? When we're talking the Indian economy, not the Canadian economy.
Well, for the Indian economy, I think it's going to be 18 months because we really need to build our capacity, and it's not that easy, whatever we have. Because I think we have, again, I agree to my earlier panelists, which said that about the sectoral, I agree to it. But yes, for overall, I think it will need time to recover, and it's we have been really affected, impacted badly, so it needs time to recover. Yeah.
Okay, Karuna Bajaj.
Yeah, I feel it will take 18 months. As I stated, fashion is definitely going to take a lot of time, and other sectors may bounce back sooner. But overall, because we were already slowed down, since past 1 year, as it is, we were suffering from not so healthy, not so growing. So taking that into consideration, at least 18 months.
Single Somani.
So Anurag, I think it's difficult to comment on, but specifically linking to the vaccination status, no clarity on this, and sentiments somehow are improving. There's no doubt about it. But I would like to share with you, due to monotonous period which was allotted to our borrowers and all, we have seen a lot of cases which could have gone bad till now are still surviving. And if it goes on, and even if you see the stock market, I'm sure all of us are definitely watching stock market, and to our surprise, going not as per what we were thinking or what the sentiments were all about. It's completely unpredictable. So I think it's good time for the government to definitely pushing more funds towards debt, and because all the public sector banks definitely have dried out, and this economy needs at least compliance, less compliances, less cost, and introduction of more loans.
Yeah.
The resilience of the economy and the economy coming back to normal is directly dependent on a cure, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could say 18 months, we could say 2 years, but if there is no cure in 18 months, all these assumptions and conjectures,
Absolutely.
And the beauty about making a prediction is most certainly you will be proved wrong. So you shouldn't be shy of making predictions, because who could have predicted what has happened now? Piyush Sharma, your final word on when the economy will be back. 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
I'm reminded of what Einstein had to say when he was asked a similar question, and he says, I do not predict the future because it comes soon enough. I am putting my bets, Anurag, on 18 months at the minimum. I have seen the 2008 recession, and this is not only when the government works on it, this is when the government, the consumer, the businesses, the MSMEs, the entrepreneurs, the entire all-round effort, the central government, the state government, everyone comes together. Even then, I would say 18 months is the minimum that I would put my monies on.
And Vineet, what is your sense? You and me have been asking these questions, getting responses. What is your sense as a citizen of the country and somebody who has a view on what's happening around? When do you think the economy? Of course, when will COVID go away? Will the vaccine come fast? Those are variables that really determine the timeline. But what's your sense?
I think, Anurag, it all depends on the confidence that people feel. The confidence that they felt before COVID-19 is what will decide when the economy comes back. If you ask me, perhaps I will have the most pessimistic view of all the panelists so far. I think another couple of years is what it's going to take for the economy to come back. When you talk about the economy coming back, I'm talking about if you want to go to Greece the next week, you'll be able to go to Greece. If you want to go to Japan the next month, you'll be able to go to Japan. And the way things go, status quo will only resume once the vaccine is out. And I think the confidence is not going to, in fact, come unless the vaccine, people are inoculated, and then obviously, things will be back to normal. Schools should be open, malls should be open. The juggernaut, which was in fact rolling before COVID-19, unless that comes back, people will not feel confident about going back to their offices, going back to their friends' places, going to bars, going to restaurants. So all of these things have to be kept into account as well. But I think it's going to take time, and that's why the vaccine is so important. Most of us, most news channels are extremely keen to know when this medicine is going to be produced. And this medicine is going to be produced, Anurag, and then the distribution nightmare begins. You can have the formula ready, but how will you distribute it to 1.3 billion people? If you talk about herd immunity as well, Anurag, you need 60% of the people in the country to be inoculated to achieve herd immunity. Now, that is also going to take another 3 years. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is what we ascertain from what we have seen in terms of progress with the medicine and the vaccine so far. So that's my take. Though a little pessimistic, I call it realistic.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NEWSX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.